Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Jordan Davis Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, and on today's episode, I will be talking about why the new saga from Star Wars will be about the family of the Solos. And also, I'll be talking about why the new game from Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, has some major hints to what could happen in the Rise of Skywalker. But before we get into that, I want to thank everyone that listened to my last episode. I want to thank all of you for the comments, for the likes, for everything that you did to support me and to support that episode of the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get into the topics at hand. Let's get into the first topic. Why do I think that the solos will be the future of Star Wars in the next saga that they're going to tell? Now, there's only one solo, and I think you kind of get where I'm going here. After the whole Skywalker saga is over, I do believe they're going to take a break. I believe they're going to take 5 years, more likely 3 years before we get another movie in theaters. And I don't know how the Skywalker saga is going to end, but it seems like they're really gonna put a bow over this whole big saga. Now, if you listen to other actors, they're saying, yeah, this is gonna end like most people want, but also giving us questions that leaves the door open for some other things, like a new saga, a new a new saga to focus on a new family and new characters. And I think the solos, meaning Rey and Ben within marriage being solos. I believe that the next saga will focus on their children. However that may be and however the storytelling may be, I don't think you're gonna be done with these characters because you have the most popular male character, Kylo Ren. You have one of the most famous female protagonists, and that's Rey. And I think it just brings up so many story possibilities if you follow their children. Now, I don't know if you can get them back for this uh saga, Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. I believe that would be a really nice touch if you can bring them back as this saga's version of Leia and Han. No, I'm not saying that they're gonna die off, but I just think in a kind of a supporting way that it's about these children, it's about their children now because they've already told their story in the sequel trilogy in the Skywalker saga. But I think it would be very interesting for them to go that way because it really connects the Kylo Ren and the Rey kind of relationship even more. And if you can tell the story from the kid's point of view, and hey, if you want to bring back the dynamic of what the solo children were in the extended universe, one turned bad and one went good, you can do that as well. But you have so many choices to do if you do a saga about the solos. You can do many things, and I think the one thing that I worry about is if they're gonna do a saga like this, another saga. I think the relationship between Ben and Ray would had to be something that didn't end right, and with relationships and parents and all that, it's not the best, and they would just be ending up like Han and Leia. And to be perfectly honest, when I think of Han and Leia and Ben and Ray, they're just like each other, and we can see that through the first two movies, and even what we're seeing in the marketing in the Rise of Skywalker, they are just like each other. Because when I think of Ben and Ray and how things are looking like in the Rise of Skywalker, they're going to they're going back to things that they know to do best. And that's really what happened in The Force Awakens after, Ben turned to the dark side. They just fell apart. And I don't I don't know if I want Ben and Rey's relationship to be a tragic one at the end. Yeah, it was towards the end of the saga. It was pretty much the same thing as Han and Leia, but as we go into a new saga, will they be the same? Will they have fallen apart? Did they go on their own? Did they separate? And I don't know if I want that. And I mean, you can still tell the story of them still together, but I don't think that's really Star Wars. It's take the drama out of it, to be perfectly honest. And so I think there's a way to do it, do a solo saga, and I am all for it. I really want to see like a new saga, a new family story telling in the Star Wars universe. I do think it could be the solos. I think putting the solos front and center with Ray and Ben's kids, and if you want to, you can gender flip it. You could um the the daughter be on the dark side, and you can make the son be on the light. You can have the daughter have traits of Ben, and you can have the son have traits with Ray, and you can really hammer down on that family kind of dynamic and trying to save the solos. Now I don't know if they're gonna go through a 9 movie arc, and I don't even know what Lucasfilm wants to do with these characters. Are they ever gonna be talking or even using these characters again? And obviously we're gonna have books and we're gonna have comics and all that stuff. We might even have TV shows on Disney Plus, so you can really develop these characters even more, like they've done with the original trilogy characters like Luke, Han, and Leia. But I think it's an interesting thing and how they would do it. I'll be all for it, but it would be very interesting because there's many ways they can go. Like I said, there's many ways to make it about the children of Rey and Ben, and like I said, it all depends how the Rise of Skywalker ends. If it ends pretty concluded, like, okay, it's happily ever after, the saga's over, we got Ben and Ray together, we got all of that. But it would be very interesting if they raise questions. If some questions are not answered, and that those questions could be used to start another story, another saga. Or are we just gonna leave it as Ray and Ben is together, they're happy, and we're just gonna put a bow over it, and we might not look at it for another 2, 3 years. And obviously, we're gonna see more Star Wars content, of course, but it's gonna be interesting. What do they do next for the film universe of Star Wars? Will they do a solo saga, or will they do that's totally different? What will Ryan Johnson's trilogy be about? Will it be about the Knights of Old Republic? Will it be in the time of the Old Republic? I think that's something to be thinking about, and it'd be an interesting topic um, to see. So yeah, I just think there is a possibility of the Solos being the next saga in Star Wars, and I would for sure love to see a story about Ray and Ben's children. But I also, on the other hand, I have a little bit of concern about if that happens, if Ben and Ray are going to be just like Han and Leia. So, yeah, I think that's just my take on it. But I would love to have your take on it as well. What do you think about a solo saga? And how do you think it would be about and how they would go on it? I would really love your feedback. I really want to know what you think. So tell me about it in the section. And I really want to know what you Star Wars fans, you Reylo fans, Ben Ray fans really think about a saga story about the children of Rey and Ben. And I can't wait to hear from you what you all think. Now, going on to the next topic. Now, there was a Star Wars game coming out, and I was really excited for it called Jedi: The Fallen Order. And it looked really cool. It looked very different from any other Star Wars game. Because we've had some pretty cool Star Wars games, but in the Disney era, it's been okay. To be perfectly honest, it's been okay. Um, but I really do think this game is opens up a whole new world for Star Wars in the gaming world and how they're telling the story in Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I didn't play the game. I watched gameplay and but I also watched the cutscenes as a 3 hour movie. And I have to say, while I was watching those cutscene movie of Jedi Fallen Order, there was a lot of similarities to the sequel trilogy. And there's a couple of things I believe that happens in that game and in those cutscenes. Now I'm not gonna give away spoilers because it just got released and I think what shows in this movie could be very revealing of what could happen in the Rise of Skywalker. But I'll say this, there is a moment the character named Cal has with the Force that reveals a lot of things to him, reveals a truth, a revelation towards him that he did not fully comprehend or feel fully comprehend until the Force revealed it. I believe that same aspect, and it could be something totally different, that I believe Rey will find out what truly happened to Ben Solo and why he turned and what happened to Luke's temple. Because I think we kind of already have kind of an idea of what happened through the movies and what is being shown through us in the Rise of Kylo Ren, the comic series that's coming out later this year in 2020. But I truly believe through a dream or something she touches, a artifact in some way that reveals to her what truly happened to Ben Solo. Because we've been seeing through new canon, like, no one knows. Luke doesn't know. He assumes Ben Solo killed his students and took the remaining students as the Knights of Ren. Leia doesn't know exactly what happened, as we've seen in the recent novel of Resistance Reborn, that Leia talking to Rey, asking her why did Ben turn to the dark side, and she's like, "That's something you have to ask Ben." And I truly do believe we're gonna get that answer in the Rise of Skywalker. But I do think it's gonna be interesting if the Force reveals it to her, like straight out every single thing that happened in that moment of what happened to Luke's temple and why it burned down, or is Ben just going to tell her? Is Rey just gonna flat out ask her what the heck happened to you? Why did you turn to the dark side? I wouldn't be shocked if Ben just comes out and tells her straight out. No more beating around the bush. We're going to get the full truth from Ben Solo's perspective. And we kind of already got a perspective from Ben. So I don't know if we're going to get that, but maybe we get to see what happens in that moment. What happened to Luke's temple through the Force. Then she asks Ben, "Is this what happened?" And he flat out tells her because, as we all know, Ben has never lied. Yeah, he has avoided certain topics. He has picked and choose some things that has happened, but he has never lied to her, not once. What he saw about her parent, never lied, and I believe that's going to be true in the Rise of Skywalker. And however, the parents thing is really concluded, and how they figure out to deal with that, I think it will be revealed. Kylo Ren did not lie. Now, he might have not had the full story, but he has never lied to her. I do believe that's really going to come down to it at the end of the day, that whatever she finds out, she she finds out more of what Kylo Ren told her. Whatever that is, I don't know. That could be many things, to be perfectly honest. But I, I really do think that we're going to be dealing with a lot of things from the Force. The Force is going to be revealing a lot of things to them. I think for Rey, I think it's going to be kind of unlocking clues and unlocking truth that she finally knows about what has happened with Ben, because she truly wants to know why. And I think we're going to get that answer. Not only Ray, but I think as the audience member that we want to know what exactly happened. What exactly went down on that night. Now, I don't know if Luke fully knows. She might tell Luke, but now that he's with the Force, maybe he knows now. So I think it's going to be very interesting, that confrontation of this is what happened. Is it true? And Ben would just be confirming that, yes, that's exactly how it happened. Because I think we're going to get a lot of twists and turns about what exactly is going to happen in the Rise of Skywalker concerning at least Ben Solo. Because when you look back in The Force Awakens, oh, you think, oh, Ben Solo killed the kids and burned down Luke's temple. Like, yeah, he did that. But when you get into the Last Jedi changed so many things, gave so many people revelations about what the story is. And now that we're hearing about, no one truly knows why Ben Solo turned. And I think we're going to get that answer, because I don't know if this is just me or people that are listening. Maybe you agree as well, but they are so tight lip on Kylo Ren slash Ben Solo's arc that they've been having Adam Driver shut his mouth for the last 6 years. It has to be more than just redemption. Yes, we know he's gonna get redemption, but it has to be something more than that. It has to be something bigger than that, because we're having Ray talking fully about about her character. We're having Rose, we're having Poe, we're having Finn, and obviously it's not as big as the story arc as Ben Solo's is. But I truly believe that it has to be something so big, so astonishing, that whatever they're planning, it has to be something so big. I can't think of anything else why they would want to hold and hide spoilers from his arc. And yes, he is the most popular character, no doubt. But I think there's something more to it. I think when we finish this trilogy and when we look back on it, his arc and the many twists and turns of his arc will be, I think when we look back on it, it will be one of the greatest character arcs we've seen in Star Wars, maybe ever. Because we've been going on such a ride with Ben Solo, we truly don't know how it's going to end, and that's how you know you're on a good hero's arc. And I'm excited to see what happens. To be honest, and obviously seeing how he gets redeemed, lives, and the whole Reylo thing, and see how that's concluded. But yeah, I truly believe, like I said, we're gonna finally find out what happened with Ben in the dark side through either a force dream or something that Ray touches that reveals something to her about Ben Solo, but what exactly happened at Luke's temple, or she's just gonna come out with it. What happened to you? Why did you turn to the dark side? It could be an intimate moment. It could be a personal moment between them. I don't know how they're gonna play it out, but I just believe that's gonna be a big plot point or a big moment in the movie, really telling her what exactly happened that only she will know. Only she will truly know of that moment and how personal of that moment that was. So yeah, that's what I think, and that's why I think that could happen. So what do you think about this revelation of Rey possibly seeing the truth of what happened at Luke's temple through the Force? Really getting the truth through the Force and asking Ben. Do you think this could happen in The Rise of Skywalker? As of many things that could happen in Ben Solo's redemption arc? And do you think that Ben Solo's arc is not just about redemption? Is it going to be much bigger than we expect in the Rise of Skywalker? I would love your feedback. I would love what you think about if all this could happen and what it truly means. So that's going to be the end of the Jordan Davis podcast. I want to thank you all for listening today. And I want to thank you for commenting, and I want to thank you for liking this podcast. And I want to thank you again for supporting me in any way possible. I thank you. So until next time, this is me signing off, and I hope you have a great and wonderful weekend. Until then, see you next time. Bye.